All right, today we are going to do some quick demos for assignment 4, the cloud creature. We're going to take your composite collage creature design and turn it into what we hope is a believable cloud, using cloud reference and using some of these compositing techniques and tools like clone stamp, smudge tool that we've been introduced to. So the first thing I need to do is open up my composite creature from assignment 2. And I want to open up my TIFF in Photoshop. So the TIFF is one layer that's merged together but with a transparent background, because what we need from that is to select around our creature, like so that we have kind of a cutout of it. The other thing I need is lots of reference. And I want it to be fairly large size, so I'm going to look for clouds. And I might look for big puffy clouds for my creature, so I'll look for Cumulus Clouds. And then I want to modify my search. Remember, resolution is very important, to not quite 10 megapixels, but maybe larger than 6 megapixels. Since clouds are such soft textures, I don't need to get it exactly right on. I can grow them a little bit and still have them look believable. So I have a lot of nice options here. I also like Cumulus Clouds because they're usually lit from above. They're often just seen on a clear blue sky. But you can choose any kind of clouds you like that fit your creature design. Now I need outstretched wings. So I'm looking at a lot of these different references to be helpful. Okay. I am also looking at the light sources, right? Like this one isn't going to match my others because the light's coming from behind. So all of mine are lit from above. You want to check them before you save them to your desktop. Make sure that they're high quality images. So let's start with this one. I say view image, zoom in. Yes, nice and clear. Very nice. Going to save that to the desktop. All right, next one. And for this, it wouldn't matter if you all used the same references because we're going to be certainly making them our own. So this one's much more stormy, but it looks like it's fairly good quality. Go ahead and save that one to the desktop. This one's so nice and cute, and I love the color of the sky behind it. Doesn't give me much interior to the cloud, but it gives me really good edges and kind of transparency of the edges that I can reference. So save that to the desktop. So always when working with composites, it's just gathering reference, but I don't need to be as picky about my reference this time. As long as the light sources all match, they should all be good candidates. Now this one doesn't seem to be coming up, so remember that just because it shows up in a Google image search doesn't always mean it's a high quality image. And then this one will be very helpful for those wings outstretching. Okay, so let's just work with those so far. I can hit F9 to get back to selecting the files open, and F11 to sweep away and see all my reference. I can put that all in a nice folder that I label for future use. I can always build up on that with more reference later. Okay, the first thing I'm looking for is just a big overall cloud texture. And this is the closest thing I have to that. So I'm going to I can either open this with Photoshop, but actually it might be better to drag this into my Photoshop file for my assignment 2 TIFF, because I already know this is sized for printing. So I just drag that in. There it is, nice and big. Like I said, because they're clouds and fairly soft to begin with, You should feel free to stretch them, make them a little bit bigger. And I'm going to roll this out like I would cookie dough. And then hit return when I place it. Okay, then I'm going to turn on my creature layer. Use the magic wand with contiguous unchecked to get all the little holes in there. And click on the blank background, and it will select only the blank background. And then I turn on my cloud layer, and I say select inverse to select everything that's not just the background, right? And then I hit Command J to duplicate it on its own layer. So now I have a kind of a cutout of this stormy cloud in the shape of my creature. I'm going to make a new blank layer, and I'm going to fill it with middle gray. So edit, fill, 50% gray, 100% opacity, normal mode. And then I'm going to drag that behind my cutout so I can see my cloud a little bit more clearly. And then I might, especially with stormy clouds like this, I might go to image adjustments, play with the levels, and in my case, brighten up my midtones so it feels softer and lighter. I don't want to do this because I don't want to exaggerate my highlights too much. I don't want to blast out that information. But I might want to limit my shadows a little bit too. So levels can be very helpful at getting a believable cloud texture that will match some of my other reference. All right, now, time has come for me to save this as something else. So I'm going to call this Carl Digital Assignment number 4. And it's going to be a PSD, while I'm still working on it, saved to the desktop. Command D to navigate to the desktop. And because I based it on my assignment 2 TIFF, my image size should be large enough to print at 350 pixels per inch. So around 11 by 14 inches at 350 pixels per inch. Perfect. So we're moving right along. Now I'm going to take my other cloud references, especially the ones I'm most interested in, and I'm going to drag them in. And I'm going to place them. And then just like we've gotten used to doing, I'm going to select loosely around them. And then duplicate, and then turn off the reference. And I think a cloud like this could be very helpful for the tail or the wings. The difference is, because this is organic material, I can really have a lot of freedom pushing and pulling it in different directions. And I'm going to get a lot of practice with my magic wand here, deleting a lot of this background color. Right? It's okay to have little residuals because we're going to be treating those edges a lot, and eventually we'll replace this gray with just a nice blue gradation painting. And once I have a few more clouds, I'll do that sooner rather than later. All right, some other clouds. This one looks promising. Like I said, I like these cumulus clouds because they have nice kind of contained edges. But depending on the shape of your creature, you might like some of these stratus clouds or cirrus clouds, the ones that are more stringy. I'm not sure what those are called. And then for each one, you can cut them out. You can adjust their levels. Notice how the color of that one feels very different than the color of this one. So we play with our color balance, and I can put some yellows into the midtones. Put some pinks back in there. It's starting to work better, and then I can adjust its levels. All of the tricks we've been doing. Especially limit the highlights so that those clouds match in texture. And then how do I transition one cloud into the other? Just the easiest options are usually the best. A nice large brush and a low opacity erasing with a soft edge. And start building these. I'm going to keep it actually at a fairly high opacity to start with, just because I'm building these shapes. And I'm not warping the clouds too much yet. I'm just kind of giving myself the material I need. Now the thing you want to be careful of with your reference, which is a little different, is because the light is directional, you can't just rotate these as though there's nothing there. You know, you can't rotate them like we did with our cartoon jumble, because then the lighting won't match. You know, the lighting always has to come from above for my cloud reference here. So instead, I can stretch them, I can warp them, but I want to be careful about rotating them too much. I can keep biting away at them, that's fine. But let's say I like that for the foot. Well, it's problematic to just rotate it like this, because now all of a sudden it's lit from the side. And that can be very strange looking. So instead, I want to keep it in its orientation, but maybe I can find other ways to make this helpful as the foot. And then play with its adjustments with levels, especially limiting its brights, maybe deepening its mid-tone shadows a little bit, and then its color balance. And we'll get better and better at this as we go on. And then using that eraser to blend in certain edges where appropriate. And instead of just scrubbing away at it, I like to use my stylus and kind of tap it. If you've ever done stippling in a high school art class, I'm taking little chunks away from it, like the wind might do, tugging at it different ways. And we'll get into other tools that are very helpful, like the smudge tool for this project. Right? It's okay to have slight color variations, because clouds do. And it shows that some clouds are in the foreground, some are further back. But I think I'm going to need maybe a little bit more reference, or I'll have to use the reference in another way. So I can even open this one back up. Actually, I should still have it here. Drag that to the top. But there's no shortage of large resolution cloud reference on the computer. And I might take this chunk now. I'm going to create my own shape. And duplicate that out. Remember, you want contiguous turned off, especially when you're selecting out that sky. So you get all of those clumps. And this will help me with the wing quite a bit. And then let's just do some overall warping. You also don't need to match the shape of your creature exactly. It's all about being believably like a cloud, which often means a lot of soft edges. But you don't want to be copying and pasting from the same clouds over and over either.